Hello, hello. There we go.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Is
hear
this
you.
live?
It's live.
Nice. Oh,
Yep.
shoot.
Yep, we are live. We're
We're
here.
live?
Yeah, we're here. We're
Perfect.
both dressed for the occasion.
If people in chat can guess who we are as SNL characters before we say it,
Yes.
I will be so happy.
Yes. We will address the costumes later on. But yeah, let's get into it, shall we?
I'm ready.
All right. Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan.
And I'm Devin.
And today we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live by talking about the film that came out last year, Saturday Night, which is a fictionalized version of the story behind the first episode of Saturday Night Live. Follows Lorne Michaels, Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, everyone from that first cast. There's a version of them in this film, and we're going to talk about it. But before we do that, we like to make each other watch. We like to talk about things we've watched in pop culture over the last week. Since it was this SNL 50th, there's going to be a lot of SNL talk later on in the show. But I wanted to talk about something else that I watched over the weekend. That I don't know if Devin, if you got to see this or not, but I saw Captain America: Brave New World.
How was it, Alan? How was it?
I went in with the lowest of expectations.
Okay.
And I left pleased. I enjoyed this film. It's not perfect by any means. You can definitely tell there were reshoots. Looking at this poster that we have on the screen more closely, I can tell that they changed things very late in the game because one character in this poster has a super suit on, never suits up in the movie.
What?
Yeah. They had to they changed a lot for one character. There were a lot of reshoots, but I think at the end of the day, they made a very compelling story. The hill that I choose to die on with the Marvel films lately is if they're going to put a Hulk in it, it's better if they don't advertise that the Hulk's in it.
Why?
The film does this whole thing where it builds up to the reveal that Thaddeus Ross is the Red Hulk. But
I knew that.
Yeah, but we all know that. So
Right.
it would have been better if they didn't advertise it with Red Hulk. They found if they had another bad guy in the film that they could advertise it with. And I feel the same way about Thor Ragnarok. Like Thor Ragnarok is such a different movie. If you go into it not expecting the Hulk to show up on Sakaar,
That's fair. Yeah.
because then
But
your
you got
reaction
the,
is genuine.
Yeah, but then you got that moment in the trailer where they're like, "It's my friend from work," and that's the thing that brought everyone to the theater.
But imagine if you had that in the theater to begin with, as a surprise,
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
like
Totally
Toby
fair.
and Andrew showing up in No Way Home.
All right, that's a good point. Yeah, that
So,
would have been cool.
It's just
I gotta know,
yeah.
with this movie, in the past, the Captain America movies have always been the one that kind of progresses the MCU, right? Civil War was a major turning point for it. I mean, even the first Avenger was kind of the last thing before you got the Avengers. Does this progress the MCU at all, or is it still kind of treading water like the MCU kind of is?
It starts things off. One of the I'll go in slight spoilers for Captain America: Brave New World.
Okay.
But one of the things that Sam Wilson's struggling with is he's asked by the president to put together a new Avengers, to be the leader of a new team of Avengers, and he struggles with that. And at the end of the film, he's like, I got to do this.
Oh wow.
And then there's a reveal about a threat coming that there's not much detail about, but Sam is told hey, so I've seen stuff, I know things.
Is that strange telling him that?
No.
Oh, what?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
I will say this for Incredible Hulk sequel 18 years later. Not bad. Oh no, 16 years later.
Is the Hulk in it? Is Bruce Banner around at all?
Bruce Banner is mentioned a lot. The events of the Incredible Hulk are mentioned a lot.
Which one?
The Incredible Hulk, the MCU one with Edward
Oh,
Norton.
okay. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
I mean, I haven't seen that in a while. I might have to catch myself up. Is it worth it? Should I go watch it?
I recommend it.
Would you recommend I run to the theater?
No.
No? Okay.
I say you're in London, so if there's a rainy day, which is probably pretty often,
All of them?
go to the theater, check this out.
Okay.
It's worth it just for the Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four trailers at the beginning.
Okay.
Plus the movie's pretty good. And I will say there is a post-credit scene, like at the very end. So, yeah.
I heard they were doing something in this movie with the Eternals. Like they
Yes.
were bringing them back into the fold. Is that cool?
They address the events of the Eternals
Okay.
in this movie. Like, hey, there's a guy sticking out of the ocean. What are we going to do about that?
There is a guy sticking out of the ocean.
They finally addressed that. I know the internet's been hounding Marvel for wanting to address that. So,
Yeah, there's a guy in the ocean. You got to talk about him.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and they even call it a celestial, so like they know what it is. So,
Oh, sure.
yeah. I just realized my camera needs flipped. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I saw. You can listen to my full review. Oh, that's not what I wanted. You can listen to my full review over on my other podcast. I almost said you have to watch this. You can listen to my full review with Josh Howell over on my other podcast, Brilliant But Lazy, that I do with Victims and Villains, and you can check that out on their YouTube channel. But Devin, what did you watch this week?
I watched a lot, but not a lot that we want to talk about here. But there's one thing that we should talk about here.
Yes.
And it is a Netflix series called Apple Cider Vinegar. Have you heard about this at all?
I have not until you mentioned it today.
So it is. It stars Caitlin Dever, who we've seen in Booksmart.
Okay.
She's the one that didn't go on to play Monica Lewinsky, but it is the story of wellness guru Belle Gibson. It's based on a true story. So Belle Gibson is this Australian wellness influencer who, according to her, had stage 4 brain cancer, was told that she had something like 4 weeks to like 3 months to live, and then turned her life around by eating well and taking apple cider vinegar. And that was how she completely got rid of her cancer. She starts this huge media empire based on that, makes a cookbook, has like millions of followers on social media, makes a killing on this. And then it's found out that she faked it all. She never had brain cancer. She never had, any of that. It was all kind of made up for publicity and for attention. And it's interesting, this show, because it does the Netflix thing. And I don't know how much Netflix kind of true-ish stories you've seen lately, but it does the thing where it kind of plays both sides.
Okay.
It doesn't paint her as in a reprehensible monster, but she's also not the hero of the story. She does bad things, but you also kind of feel bad for her, and your mileage may vary on that. It's like when they did that, I think it was called like Inventing Anna or something like that, where as a scam artist, where like she's a monster, right? She scammed a lot of people out of a lot of money, and the Netflix bio series kind of makes her out to be this kind of nice and relatable person, and that's kind of not what reality is, but also sure. And if you like that kind of thing, if you kind of want to feel a little bit for somebody that scammed a lot of people out of money, go for it. It's a fun watch. If you were looking for just nothing but a takedown of her, you're not gonna find it. But Caitlin Dever is incredible in it.
Okay.
And I cannot wait, based on this, cannot wait to see her as Abby in the second series of Last of Us.
Okay.
So, yeah. I mean,
They want you to.
if that sounds interesting to you, watch it. If it doesn't, give it a pass.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think I remember hearing about this story, but I never knew they did a Netflix thing. I also keep forgetting that I have a Netflix account. So,
You know what? I've been watching kind of a lot. The other one that we're not going to bring up is I started watching American Primeval, which is a Western on Netflix. Pretty good.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
cool. I'm taking off the glasses until we do the thing later. Uh, what
Good
thing?
call. Good
You'll
call.
find out. Stay
Oh boy.
tuned. But today we're going to talk about our main. We're going to switch over to our main topic. Each week we like to make each other watch things that one of us has never seen before. This week it was my pick, and in honor of the SNL 50th anniversary, I decided to make the guys watch Saturday Night, the Ivan Reitman film that tells the story of the very first episode of Saturday Night Live, and follows Lorne Michaels and the cast of the Not Ready for Primetime Players behind the scenes at 30 Rockefeller Center. This film came out last year. Usually we talk about how we came across this film and our memories of it the first time we saw it. This was also my first time seeing it. Surprise. Wanted to go see this in theaters. It just didn't work out. But we're here now. We watched it. Devin, what were your thoughts on Saturday Night?
I'm the target audience for this movie. Like the second the movie started, I went, "Oh my god, it's Andy Kaufman," and then I went, "Oh, it's Gilda Radner." Like I'm who the movie's targeting, and every time like Chevy Chase came on scene or John Belushi came on scene, I was like, "The heroes." So like I was gonna love this movie even if it was garbage, but fortunately, it's a good movie on top of all of that. So
Yeah.
I loved it. I want to watch it again. This is in the rotation. This is great.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch it again. I was watching it with someone who I had to be like, okay, that's Chevy Chase, that's Dan Aykroyd, that's
Oh
John
yeah.
Belushi,
Uh,
that's Andy Kaufman. He was also played by Jim Carrey at one point. Oh, and that guy. Oh, and that guy's also playing Jim Henson. Um, um, yeah, I really enjoyed this. I really like Jason Reitman.
yeah.
He's become one of my favorite filmmakers recently. Between this, Ghostbusters, Afterlife,
Mm-hmm.
those two mainly.
Just those.
Those two. I'm trying to think what I liked Up in the Air that he did back in 2009. Just seeing what else he did. Yeah, those are the big ones for me. I have to make you guys watch Up in the Air at some point, I think.
You really should.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this. It's very fast paced. It's almost in real time. Like it fudges with it a little bit, but it's very tense and very, very dramatic, but also comedic. Like it balances everything very well. Like you can feel the tension of that Lorne Michaels is going through getting ready to go on air. And having worked in live productions, I know what that's like. Not to the degree that SNL does, but like being in a situation like that where there is a deadline, you have to be ready to go. It's super stressful, and they do a very good job of conveying that in the film.
I mean, even the first line of it is the show's not ready because it's ready. It's ready because it's 11:30.
Yeah.
Like that's the plot of the movie. Like it's so good.
Yeah. It tells the story of the 90 minutes before air. Devin, how familiar are you with the very first episode of Saturday Night Live?
Honestly, not at all.
Okay.
I know they made a lot more references than I caught, which is really cool. Unfortunately my like history with older SNL is back in the day they used to sell those DVDs of like each individual cast member's best of,
Yeah.
and I ate those up. I had Belushi, I had Will Ferrell, I had Spade, I had Farley. Like I had a lot of those, and that's how I would see old SNL, not full episodes.
You know, it must have been for the 30th anniversary. I have a vivid memory of them re-airing the very first episode of SNL on
Oh.
NBC. And I remember watching it and being like, I don't know what this is. This is not Saturday Night Live. So like I knew Carlin was the host. So that was, I think that was my introduction to George Carlin and the Blue Food bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that would have been 2005. So I got some of the references for that, like having seen a lot of that, especially after watching all the documentaries about Saturday Night Live over the last few weeks.
Sure.
There was a lot that I picked up on. There were also some sketches that they hint at that don't happen in this episode, like the Julia Childs bit with the blood.
That one I've seen before. Yeah, the Julia Childs bit's very funny.
And I had to think to myself, I was like, is that in the first episode? I didn't think that was in the first episode. But I think that is in the first season. But yeah. So we've done, like, watching this through, I was thinking about what we've done on the podcast. And we've done a lot of films that feature, we've done the Blues Brothers, and we've done the Belushi, Aykroyd stuff. We've talked about Chevy Chase a bit. What did you think of the casting of this crew? Like, these actors playing the well-known celebrities that we know now.
Oh my God, they were incredible. They were incredible. I mean, Gilda Radner. I mean, every single person. Because I was gonna say it for individual ones. Every single person was on camera during their skit was pitch fucking perfect, I thought. And I don't know what they're like off set, but they're so believable as what you'd think that person would be. Like, Chevy Chase is exactly who I think Chevy Chase would be off screen. He is a little bit cocky. He is a bit flirty. He's weirdly possessive and overly masculine. We'll have to talk about the Milton Berle scene, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I think the one that shocked me the most was Belushi. Like, I didn't know that happened to Belushi just before SNL.
So one of the things that this movie does is it fudges with time a little bit.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't 90 minutes before the show didn't have his contract signed.
Sure.
He was late to signing his contract.
But what do you think he was like, as opposed to all of it, like, or to like the B skit, or like kind of as temperamental and essentially had like a handler, like they showed him in this?
Actually, hold on. That actually is true. He did sign his contract 5 minutes before air. Per Live from New York, the oral history of SNL. Belushi finally signed his contract 5 minutes before the show was due to air, and only because Bernie Brillstein, who soon after became Belushi's manager, lied and said he'd written it himself. Belushi wasn't the only contract skeptic. Chevy Chase never signed a performer contract, only one for head writer.
What?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So that's one of the things they didn't fudge. I guess I misread that. I noticed one of the things they fudged was, and you almost have to when you're bouncing between characters doing things, is like they'll show you the minutes tick by, and they'll be like, "That wasn't 5 minutes. That was like 30 minutes that I saw." But like you have to do that if you have things happening simultaneously, and you have to show them to us. Yeah. So I'm going to just go through this article, and I want you to guess if things are true or not true.
Yes, good.
After the show's disastrous dress rehearsal, NBC exec David Tebbutt nearly pulled Saturday Night Live right before it was about to air.
This is Willem Dafoe's character, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. That's 100% true.
It's half true.
Ooh, okay.
The movie suggests that until the last possible second, network hands hovered over a button that would show a Johnny Carson rerun instead of the first SNL episode. While that detail is fictionalized, the reality of whether the show would go to air pretty much did go pretty much down to the wire. There was a disastrous dress rehearsal. The stage was still in progress. Yes, production spent the first night laying real bricks.
That's incredible.
And NBC fretted about what might come out of George Carlin's mouth. According to the Live from New York book, Tebbit was mostly concerned with Carlin, his casual attire, his foul mouth, and not what would become of SNL itself. As portrayed by Willem Dafoe in the film, Tebbit lingers around like a threat, eager to sniff out blood and throw the show out if it can't live up to expectations. This is all from Vulture, by the way.
I love that. So one of the things I love is this plot that they throw into it, where the whole reason they even greenlit this project wasn't specifically because they believed in it. They greenlit the project to show Carson that there could be something that fills that time spot to help negotiate Carson's contract.
Yeah.
Was that bit true? Do you know if that bit was true?
I believe it was. I don't think they were trying to show Carson out on the weekdays, but like I don't think they were trying to make him do a Saturday show.
Okay.
I don't know too much about the contract negotiation when it comes to Johnny Carson's Tonight Show. Ask me about Conan O'Brien's Tonight Show, and I could go on for hours about that.
Well, hold on, because this is what attracted me to that plot line specifically is for the fact that he was canceled. I get it. There was an episode of the show Louie that I really loved. Actually, 2 episodes where they had tapped him to replace Conan O'Brien, and he trained for it for weeks. He did test reads. He did these really great interviews, and they showed it, and he was great on camera, and he grew as a person for this. And then afterwards, he was told by the network exec this was never going to be off the air. This was just to show Conan that we can replace him in his and was that part, did they do stuff not for Louis C.K. obviously, but did they do that part to Conan in general?
Not necessarily, not to that extent. Conan was promised the Tonight Show.
Oh, wow.
And that you not know this story?
No, I don't know anything about this.
So back in 2009, no, it was 2007, 2006. They had announced that Jay Leno was leaving the Tonight Show, and Conan O'Brien was going to move to 11:30. So they planned for years. They ended Late Night with Conan O'Brien in New York. Conan moved his family and his whole team out to LA to do the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
And they premiered it in 2009. It wasn't making the numbers that NBC wanted it to do. And then in the fall of 2009, they brought back Jay Leno to do the Jay Leno Show at 10 o'clock every night that during the week. So when Conan wasn't performing, but Jay Leno's 10 o'clock show was, because Jay Leno was like, yeah, I want to come back. NBC was like, we're going to push the Tonight Show to midnight and then give Leno a half hour. And Conan said, no, that's not the Tonight Show. That's tomorrow. And stood his ground and got fired by NBC, and they gave the Tonight Show back to Jay Leno.
Whoa.
Yeah. Which is why Conan moved to NBC.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I've got a whole book on this. I will
That's incredible.
send your way. Yeah.
You'll have to.
Damn. I remember following that story as it happened. In college, we would me and my RA, who was my neighbor, we would watch Conan every night, and when this happened, we were like, "What is going on? This is crazy." And then he went on to work with Conan, and ended up in one of his bits.
That's incredible.
So, yeah. Anyway, back to SNL.
Yeah. Well, I find these network contract negotiations, I find them fascinating, and I find them horrific at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it's shown in the movie.
Yeah, I'm guessing they had something to do with contract negotiations, but I think they also probably wanted something to fill the 11:30 slot on Saturday nights. Sure. All right. You want to keep playing this game of what was true and what was not? Okay.
Yes.
No one could decide how Rosie Schuster should be credited. True or not true?
I didn't even know this was a plot was a thing until the movie. I think that it's not true.
It's not true.
I think that's exaggerated. Good.
Michaels and Michaels' then wife waffle on how to credit her as a writer on the opening show. specifically whether or not her to use her last name. There's no mention of this in Live from New York or elsewhere. Schuster's appears only to ever have been credited with her own name.
Oh,
All right.
Okay.
Now here comes a fun one. Devin, is it true or not true that Dan Aykroyd was hooking up with everyone?
It's true. It's got to be true. It's Dan Aykroyd.
It is true. It is Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd.
He was giving them some loving.
I love it.
All right. Lorne Michaels was supposed to do Weekend Update himself. True or not true?
I genuinely can't believe that. I'm going to say it's false.
This is half true. From what I read, early on, Lorne had the idea of doing it himself. And then in the process of putting the show together, before dress rehearsal and everything, it was decided that he wouldn't do it and it should be Chevy.
Got it.
But
it would have been wild if it was Lorne, though.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't even know if he got to rehearse it, but it was always going to be Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
The malevolent Milton Berle stalked around Studio 8H being an asshole ahead of the premiere.
Oh, is this true?
I'm asking, true or not true?
Oh, played by J.K.
J.K.
Simmons himself.
Yep.
Love it. I'm gonna say that's false. I think it's a movie thing to set up the dichotomy between the old and the new.
Yeah, not true.
Okay, I had a feeling.
He did host in the early 70s or in the 70s and proved himself to be so unpleasant to most of the cast and crew that Michaels banned him for years after. Lorne Michaels has said he hasn't banned anyone from the show, but he didn't actually stalk around the studio waiting for the show to fail on opening night. He did flash SNL writer Alan Zibwell during a hosting gig, not Chevy Chase as the movie suggests.
I don't like that he did that at all.
True or false, Devin? Was he packing?
That's such a specific detail. I bet Milton Berle was packing. Was he packing?
He was.
Was he?
That's why he was called. That's why they call him Mr. Television.
It blew my mind that it also reminded me that like that was probably the culture in TV back then, wasn't it? Like just sexual harassment happened on set and like not many people cared too much.
Yeah, I mean the 70s, man, were a different time. So, the cast did not want to do product placement. True or false?
I'm gonna say, knowing who the cast was, I'm gonna say that's false. They did, but they would want to make a joke out of it, so they didn't do product placement.
It's not. They were open to it.
Okay.
Belushi did it because he wanted money and fast.
Huh.
But yeah,
Belushi.
I'm not going to do that one because that's a lot of text. Garrett Morris had an identity crisis. True or false?
I'm going to say true.
This says kind of true.
Okay.
Per the book that this references a lot, Garrett Morris, played by Lamorne Morris, no relation, struggled to find his place among the early SNL cast before he became, because he came from the world of theater and not underground comedy. There was more of a ongoing struggle than it was a night of meltdown, though.
Oh, sure.
I really like Lamar Morris in this. I
was gonna mention that he's so good.
His scene where he just starts singing to do a sound check. Gonna get me a shotgun, and I'm not gonna say the rest. Like that he was like my favorite part of New Girl, and I want to see him in more. I love him in Game Night. Like I want to see him in more. And I know he was nominated for Fargo and won some stuff. So I need to go back
He
and
was in
watch that.
Fargo?
He was in one of the seasons of Fargo that just aired a few years
I
ago.
missed it. That's very cool.
All right. Devin, is it true or false that the SNL writers hung Big Bird?
Really hope it's true.
It's kind of true. In the movie,
Oh.
Jim Henson, played by cousin Nicholas Braun, pulls Lauren aside to complain. Not only do the SNL writers neglect to write him a sketch for the Muppets, but also hung a Big Bird plushie in the writers' room. This did happen, but not before opening night. In general, the SNL writers did not like writing for the Muppets due to Henson's protectiveness over what his fuzzy friends would, or more likely wouldn't, say on television. Let's talk about Nicholas Braun for a second.
Okay.
Did you know he was not supposed to play both roles of Andy Kaufman and Jim Henson?
No, I had no idea.
He was cast as Jim Henson. Benny Safdie
okay.
was cast as Andy Kaufman and had to back out due to
Aw.
scheduling conflicts. So since they didn't share a scene together, they just had Nicholas Braun do both parts.
He kills it. He kills it. He's immediately recognizable as Kaufman, though.
He
Like,
is.
no questions. And the performance and the writing for Kaufman is so Kaufman.
It is, but it's also very much just his character from Taxi. It's just locked.
I don't think I've ever seen him in Taxi, though.
Okay.
Is that his character in Taxi?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
I gotta know, because I don't know this. Did the first episode of SNL include Muppets?
yes, but not the Muppets you know and love.
Were they like the Fraggles, like Fraggle Rocks?
They looked like somewhere between the Fraggles and creatures from Labyrinth.
Okay, because they like kept cutting to one, or he'd be in like the foreground of a shot, and it wasn't
Yeah.
one that I recognized.
I will tell you this: the sketch. I went back and watched the first episode after I watched the movie. I got to that sketch. I didn't laugh once. It was not good.
Real. Oh.
Yeah, I'm sure he did better stuff with the Muppets down the line, but they did not like him here.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So
all right.
what reference? Because since you watched the first episode, what like behind the scenes peek did you appreciate the most? Because I mean, the only few that I knew was Andy Kaufman's Underdog. I mentioned it in the last or Mighty Mouse, sorry, because I referenced it in the last show, the Mighty Mouse sketch, and then I knew the training to be a construction worker scene, and for me that was the most fun to like get a peek behind.
Yeah.
Where like was it Aykroyd was uncomfortable being in like those short of shorts.
Yeah. For me, the B sketch.
Yeah.
Like it's so short and like not very like risque at all. Like it's super like it's probably the funniest one that they had that they showed in the movie, or at least teased a bit. But yeah, the B sketch was good. I enjoyed that a bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There's a few more here, but I think we're gonna move on to what else you want to talk about with this movie?
So I didn't know there was a lot that I didn't know about SNL, like the early days of SNL, going into it, and one of the big ones for me was that like Billy Crystal was set to do something that day.
Yeah.
I had no. Did you know this?
Yes.
What was he doing? Was it just the chips thing?
Yeah, it was the safari thing that he was acting out behind the scenes.
Did he do it at some point?
I don't know if he ever did.
Really? Was that in that book? Is that why you knew that?
No, I heard him talking about it on a podcast, actually. It might have been Conan's podcast. Okay. He talked about being on SNL for that first episode and not like getting cut. Like but he was in the cast later on. But he finally did perform the sketch on television, most notably on Billy Crystal, Midnight to Moscow in 1989.
I hope, like, after so long of having that sketch in your back pocket, I hope it did well. Like,
Yeah.
I really hope it landed.
I will say, like, of the impressions that these actors are doing of the actors that we know, his was like the most spot on. Like I was like,
You
yeah,
think so?
that's Billy Crystal. Like
Mm-hmm.
the guy who plays Dan Aykroyd looks like Dan Aykroyd, but I didn't really hear Dan Aykroyd in his voice.
No, I have that. Yeah.
Billy Crystal, I could hear it. And even Lorne Michaels, like the guy playing him, there were times where I could hear like the Lorne Michaels voice
Yes.
coming through.
Yeah, but
But
not
it wasn't
the whole time.
it wasn't there the whole time. He wasn't like doing Dr. Evil.
Well, the
Milton
thing is,
Berle,
I
will you
knew
please
that.
put away your dick?
But, like, I knew that was supposed to be like based on him, and you can hear twinges of it,
Mm-hmm.
and it made me wonder, like, is that accent something that he gains as time goes on, and he didn't have it then, or could you not stand a home? Like, would that be too distracting to listen to?
I think the impression of Lorne Michaels is always exaggerated, and they play
Sure,
that part
sure.
up a lot with everyone who does it, whether it's Bill Hader or Mike Myers. Like they
Yeah.
all play it up a bit. So I don't
Sure.
like even watching interviews with Bill Hader or with Lorne Michaels, like you can tell that it's played up a bit. So
Oh, good. Okay.
the guy who played Chevy Chase though, he looked like Chevy Chase. Like I kept like there two of the main cast members have talked about this film.
Okay.
One read it. And I want you to guess which of the main cast members from the original cast read the script before it was made.
It's got to be Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd.
It's got to be.
Correct.
Yeah.
Who do you think hated the movie?
Chevy Chase.
Chevy
hated
Chase.
the movie.
Chevy
Of course,
Chase-
Chevy Chase hated the movie.
Chevy Chase hates everything.
Yeah, he does.
But I think there's something weird going on with Chevy Chase now because he's like, Chevy Chase was only on this show for one season.
Yeah.
And I know somebody who was at Chevy Chase's last show, and
Oh.
they've passed away, and I never got a chance to talk to them about it.
Oh.
But he told me this once, and I was like, "Oh man, that's fascinating. I want to hear more about that."
Yeah.
And then he passed away before I could talk to him about it. Funny enough, it was my priest.
Oh. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But Chevy Chase was on for one season, and like he's been doing a lot of press for the 50th, and he's come out and said, "Yeah, I shouldn't have left." Like that, he regrets
Wow.
leaving after one season. But if he didn't leave after one season, we wouldn't have gotten Bill Murray. So
That's fair. And you know what's interesting to me is that they almost build in his reason for leaving into the movie, where like he got like tapped essentially, as he called it, like to do what, the Tonight Show, or to take over for Carson.
yeah, they were like, you could take over for Clarkson. Like he had the
Yeah.
overinflated ego, and he had a talk show for a minute in the 90s on
Did he?
Fox. Yeah, Fox did a late
Oh,
night
I
show with
didn't know
Chevy
that.
Chase, and it bombed.
Oh.
So, but Chevy Chase, he had a good career outside of SNL.
Of course he did.
National
course he did.
Lampoon, Caddyshack,
Mm-hmm.
Community. To a
Yeah,
point.
I heard he was grumpy on all of those,
Yeah,
but he's
Uh,
funny.
yeah, yeah. What else do you want to talk about before we get into the 50th?
I don't know what more to talk. I mean, there's so many little interesting bits of stuff in here, but we kind of answered my big questions. I love this movie, but I'm happy to move on to other things.
I will say that there is an interesting tidbit. The stagehand who the art director who's laying the bricks,
Yeah.
Akira Yoshimura,
Uh-huh.
as of the movie's released in 2024, he's the only person who has been with the show the entirety of its run.
No way.
He has never left the show. Lorne Michaels left for 5 years.
He
Or so.
did.
But he has
Wow.
not. Like he's
What a
and
champ.
he even has the stage and who tells him you'll be gone in 2 weeks. 50 years later.
That's so funny.
Um,
I love that.
yeah, that was an interesting bit of trivia. Yeah. Is there any other era of SNL you would like to see a behind the scenes movie of?
Oh man, yes. I mean, it sounds like SNL behind the scenes has kind of always been just a mess.
Yeah.
Or like at least like a mess in terms of like its production doesn't look or feel like any other TV show that you know of. I would love to do one in I'm gonna say like the Will Ferrell era. Because I've gotten like little peeks behind that because I think that was also when like John Mulaney was writing
Mm-hmm.
for it and like a couple of other like well-known people were involved in it at that point and like I want to see that.
Mulaney was there more in like the Bill Hader, Fred Armisen.
Was
Seth
he? Okay, it was
Meyers
a little
era.
later than what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe he hosted a couple of times with him then.
Yeah.
But like just some of the things that I've heard Mulaney talk about and I've heard Farrell talk about just sound so interesting.
I would love to see, after watching the documentary, I think
Mhm.
a sequel to this could be the 1985 season, like
Is it the weird year?
the weird year, where you have Anthony Michael Hall and Robert Downey Jr., Marlon Wayans, Lauren coming back, bringing Al Franken back in to write, like rebuilding the show. Like what did that look like? And maybe not do it in real
Yeah.
time, but like show like what it was like to rebuild and like, have the network hounding you because the show is failing. And I think that would be interesting to see.
It would be. It's very much one of those shows that like stays relevant and I feel like gets weirdly like I feel like sometimes it's real easy to kind of make fun of like how unfunny certain bits in SNL are. But like I've never seen a show that routinely bubbles into the cultural zeitgeist as frequently as it does.
Yeah. No, it's we'll talk. They do a whole thing about things that don't age well from SNL, like on the
Do
50th.
they?
Yeah,
That's so cool.
they do a whole in memoriam segment on things that are no longer funny that they can't do on television. So that's fun. But yeah,
That's fun.
all right. So highly recommend this film if you haven't seen it. It's
Yes.
streaming now on Netflix. We're doing things a little bit differently tonight because I want to talk about the 50th anniversary. Because there was a whole weekend affair for me watching this. Because Friday night they had the homecoming concert live from Radio City Music Hall, which they called the consolation prize if you didn't make it to the guest list for the anniversary special.
Oh, that's fun.
But this was an amazing show. Will Ferrell and Anna Gasteyer did Not Like Us and called Drake a pedophile on
Oh, I
yeah.
love that.
It's just it's great. Bill Murray and Paul Schaefer came out and did Nick Valentine singing You're All I Need to Get By with Anna Gasteyer, Cecily Strong, and I'm blanking on who the third one was. I forget who the third actress from SNL was, but it was just a great show overall. Like it was just the SNL stuff. Andy Samberg came out and did a Lonely Island tribute.
I love it.
But he did it with Lady Gaga to start. Like he's wearing a cowboy hat and did the song from A Star Is Born, but he does it badly, and Gaga's like, "Yeah, no, we're not going to do this. We can do your song." Say, okay, but somebody's not here to sing his parts. And so Andy Samberg and Lady Gaga did "Dick in a Box."
Oh my god.
Oh
shit.
But one of the coolest things about it was the bands that they had there.
Mm-hmm.
Nirvana was there.
What?
Post Nirvana.
Wow.
The Nirvana reunited with Post Malone singing vocals.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it was good
cool?
though. It was very
Was
cool.
it?
The Jelly Roll was there, and he did a tribute to Johnny Cash.
Oh.
It was not good.
Oh no.
But the coolest thing was, like, and I agree with him for this. He was like, "Yeah, I got the roots to do country," and I was like, "Yeah, you know what? They're the best part of this right now because you're kind of ruining Johnny Cash." Backstreet Boys were there, and at one point, AJ McLean puts the microphone in Jerry Seinfeld's face to get him to sing "I Want It That Way," and it's like, that's Jerry Seinfeld. He's not going to play along.
Did he not play along?
He looked uncomfortable.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh, it was Maya Rudolph. Maya Rudolph was the third actress who sang with
Maya Rudolph. I've seen her. Okay, was she in a lot of those? Because I've seen her sing a lot lately in SNL type things. I assume that's all the concert.
Yeah, she most of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Cher was there. Snoop Dogg
cool.
and Jelly Roll did Goodbye Mary Jane.
Aw.
David Burns kept showing up.
He didn't sing. He just like popped in.
No, pretty much. Yeah. Arcade Fire, David Byrne, St. Vincent, and the Preservation Jazz Hall Band did a medley of Heroes and Wake Up.
Wow.
The Heroes was the coolest part for me, I think.
I don't doubt it was. That's the part that I would pick as the coolest.
But it was very, like, Jimmy Fallon opened the whole thing as with the Blues Brothers.
Did he?
Yeah. So highly recommend the concert.
Yeah,
it's worth checking out. But also, I recommend checking out the SNL 50th anniversary special.
I saw some of it. Not all of it. I'm so jealous that you saw all of it.
What parts did you see?
I saw not much. I saw the part where Steve Martin was doing a bit of the opening monologue.
Yes.
And I saw where he made the joke about Martin Short being the only Canadian not hired in Schitt's Creek, which is so funny. Yeah. I saw the part where Tina Fey and Amy Poehler were just picking people out of the audience that were famous who wouldn't be in any other part. I saw the Ryan Reynolds, "How are you?" He goes, "What did you hear?" Which is very funny.
Yes. What was the best part about that, though, was the look on Blake Lively's face. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
And there's like so much drama behind them just being there.
Oh, is there really?
Well, I don't know if you know this about Ryan Reynolds, but do you know who he was married to before Blake Lively?
No.
Scarlett Johansson. Who is married to SNL head writer Colin Jost.
I knew they were married. I didn't know he used to be married to her.
Wow. There's evidently some drama behind the scenes at the 50th anniversary show.
I did see Scarlett Johansson, though. I heard her sing Suddenly E-Bikes, which was very funny.
Suddenly E-Bikes, Cocaine and Some Vodka.
Yeah, I saw was good. I saw that one.
My favorite sketch was Black Jeopardy.
I didn't see this one.
Where they had Kenan Thompson hosting. Mm-hmm. They had Leslie Jones come back. They had Tracy Morgan come back as a character named Marcus. And then they had Eddie Murphy playing Tracy Morgan. Right next to Tracy Morgan.
He was not playing Tracy Morgan.
He was, and Tracy Morgan's like, at one point, Kenan's like, I see a family resemblance. You guys are related? He's like, I don't see it. I laughed so hard at that.
Oh, man.
There was another Eddie Murphy sketch where, do you know where Kenan plays a prisoner and he like comes out and talks to the youths to scare them out of prison?
Yeah.
They did that with Kenan and Eddie Murphy, and I'm not going to ruin it for you, but there's a moment in that sketch where Eddie Murphy breaks, And I never in my life thought I would see Eddie Murphy break on SNL.
That is so funny.
And I'm not going to tell you what made him break, but it was very much worth it. Have you been following the Domingo sketches at all?
I have. Yeah, I saw they did New Domingo.
They did a New Domingo. They need to stop there. It was perfect. They don't need to do any more. It was such a well-written joke, and I will spoil a little bit of this for you. So Sabrina Carpenter opened the show with Paul Simon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they did a song called Homeward Bound that Paul Simon did on like the 3rd season with George Harrison. But she opened the show, so she was there. So she joins the wedding party for this sketch. And the first version of the sketch was Ariana Grande was hosting.
It was.
And they did Espresso.
Mm-hmm.
They had Sabrina Carpenter there, and they did Wicked. And I was like, that's such a clever way to tie it back. And it's such a solid joke.
Oh, shit.
Like just the levels of comedy to that. I appreciated so much. Weekend Update was fantastic. They did a tribute to SNL commercials. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it. Because at a certain point, it's just talking about different sketches that it's like the Chris Farley talk show. Do you remember when Will Ferrell did that thing? That was awesome.
Cool, huh?
Yeah.
I love that.
Paul McCartney was there. It was very entertaining, and I didn't think they could beat the 40th anniversary special because I remember watching that 10 years ago. And I still remember vividly jokes from that one. Like they kept making jokes about John Lovitz being dead, but he was like sitting in the car like, huh? Like, but they did a thing with him this year where he was, they seated him in the American Girl store across the way.
Yeah.
So,
I like that.
But that's the 50th anniversary special. Devin and I decided to pay tribute to some of our favorite characters tonight. Devin, tell the people at home who you are cosplaying as today.
I am Daryl Hammond playing Sean Connery in the Celebrity Jeopardy sketches.
All right, I've got the image up here on the screen. Let's put it side by side. That's not what your mother said last night.
Rough, just like your mother likes it, Trebek. Oh, it's so... I just watched them before this, because Alan knows this. Obviously, people don't know this. I kept changing who I was. So Alan asked me, who do you want to be? And my first thought was either the one Alan is, I'm not going to ruin his, the thing Alan is, or was Alan, the Bill Hader character that's like now a meme where he's like, like that one. And then it switched to me going oh no, that's terrible. That
Keith
guy.
Morrison.
Yeah, it's. But I don't have a brown suit and tie, or it would have been that. And then I went with this, and this is like a sketch that I can still watch now and still laugh as hard as the first time I saw it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so last minute what you were going to be because I pulled like the sound for the Allen dance for you to do in your little bubble there.
Yeah.
And I was like, you told me you've changed it. I was like, okay, I guess I don't need to worry about pulling that clip in. I had a few options. I was looking at doing Stefan.
Love it.
Which speaking of Stefan, Ryan wanted to be here, but he got caught up in New York's hottest club. Spank me. So I was good. Stefan was an option for me. I was looking at doing Garth from Wayne's World and be like, hi.
Oh, yeah.
But at the end of the day, there was only one choice of who I should be for today. My name's Matt Foley. I'm 34 years old. I am divorced, and I live in a van down by the river.
That is one of my all-time favorite sketches. I love it. I love it so much.
Yes.
And who was it written by?
Written by Bob Odenkirk.
Crazy how much raw talent passes through SNL.
So yeah, that's here's like that's Matt Foley. Here's me. There's
So
him.
good.
There's me. There's you. There's like, yeah,
Buddy, you're pal.
yeah. So, Devin, since you're dressed as Sean Connery, I figured it would only be right to end tonight with a game.
Oh yes.
So I have here the SNL, the game. I've got the cards out here. They seem to all be trivia. So we're going to go through the decades. We're going to do two
Yes.
questions from each because I know
Okay.
your time is valuable and it's getting late where you are. So we're going to start in the 70s. I'm
Okay.
just going to pull out two cards randomly.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, these are not all trivia.
Do
All
some
right,
of them make me do things?
maybe.
I'm excited to have my trivia tested on 70s and older.
Okay, so this is from the 70s.
Okay.
What country do Wild and Crazy Guys George and Yorturk Fustrunk hail?
Oh gosh, is it it has got to be no. Uzbekistan.
You're very close.
Am I?
Yes, it's Czechoslovakia.
Dang it. That is, it makes total sense. My dad used to quote that all the time. He would just walk around the house going, "We are two wild and crazy guys." Oh, I forgot about that. It's so good.
I'm trying to find another trivia one. What beverage does Greek Olympia restaurant serve along with its cheeseburgers?
Pepsi. No Coke, Pepsi. Yeah, no Coke, Pepsi. Pepsi.
All right, let's move on to the 80s, shall we?
Oh, I forgot how much I
This
love
is how much this this is the stack for the 70s. This is the stack for the 80s.
Oh man, yeah, that makes sense. Because
Okay.
this is when like Murphy was on, wasn't it?
Yes, speaking of Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
What musician played by Eddie Murphy hosts a celebrity hot tub party?
Is it Hendrix?
No.
No, who is it?
Stevie or James Brown.
Oh, is it James Brown?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen this skit. That's so cool.
I'll give you another one.
Okay.
What two legendary singers played by Eddie Murphy and Joe Piscopo team up to write a song promoting racial harmony? I kind of gave half of this one away just now.
Did you really?
It started to, yeah. If you were paying
Is
attention,
Is it McCartney and
you're on the
Stevie
right
Wonder?
track. You're on the right track. They do a version of Ebony and Ivory, but it's not Paul McCartney.
Oh, who is it? Is it
Who did Joe Piscopo do on the show?
Joe Piscopo did? Oh, he wasn't. No, because it was Belushi that did. Little Help for My Friends guy. Who did Joe Piscopo do? Did he do Lennon?
No, he did. He did Frank Sinatra.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Okay, this is an interesting one from the 80s that doesn't have to do with Eddie Murphy.
Love it.
What celebrity host, known for losing his temper, punched church lady in the face after she made one too many comments about his wife?
The host was known for losing his temper
Yes.
in the 80s, because I would have said
In
Chevy
the
Chase,
80s.
but that's
he
not.
had this host had a very famous wife in the 80s.
O.J. Simpson. No. Was that too much?
Hey, Norm Macdonald called. He said he'd get off his bit.
Was it Norm Macdonald?
No.
Oh.
I was just, you made an O.J. Simpson joke, so I had to.
We didn't go
reference.
with Norm Macdonald's joke? Ooh,
Yes.
too dark. Too dark.
Yes.
What is
it
it?
was Sean Penn.
Who was his famous wife in the 80s?
Madonna.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? I do not know celebrity relationships at all.
Uh, we go from OJ to somebody else who killed someone. What product does Alec Baldwin promote on the radio show The Delicious Dish?
Sweaty ball.
No one can resist my sweaty balls.
Oh, it's so good.
All right, let me try to find another one here.
You know how you like forget all of these? Like I forgot that was SNL. I like forgot about a lot of that until you brought it up. I'm like, right. SNL's had a lot of bangers.
Yes, it has. A character they're not going to bring back anytime soon. What catchphrase did David Spade coin as the steward for Total Bastard Airlines?
I don't know. I don't know this.
You don't?
No.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Now.
Was
Bye-bye.
that?
That was that.
Oh, no shit. Okay, I have seen that. I just didn't know that was Total Bastard Airlines. That's very funny.
All right, let me see what else we got here. Oh,
How long was David Spade on SNL? He was there for 6 years.
yeah. Sandler did a whole song about how long everyone was at SNL.
Did he?
Yeah.
They would get Sandler back, didn't they? Because
Yeah.
he did like Lunch Ladyland. He did a couple of ones for SNL.
Yeah.
Ooh,
All right.
okay, okay.
What actor does Chris Farley compete against for a job at Chippendales?
It's Fabio.
No.
No,
No.
I know the guy. He's
It's an
got like
actor.
the long hair.
No, it's not Fabio.
It's an actor.
It's an actor. From several films that we've done on this podcast.
It's my guy. It's he was in Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner. What is that guy's name? Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze. That is
I
correct.
didn't realize that was Patrick Swayze. That is so funny. I gotta rewatch that.
Trying to find one more from the 90s that you would know.
Because this is more like I think 90s is a little bit more when I'm familiar with it.
Yes.
In terms of what I consider to be like old SNL.
All right. Let's see here. I'm trying to find. Did that one. Did that one. Right, if we can't find one here soon, we're just going to move on to the.
I looked up longest SNL cast members and I didn't know it was Kenan Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
21 years.
Yeah. He's been on
Did he
it
just roll from all that into SNL?
practically.
That's incredible. He's so funny. I'm so glad it's him.
All right. Dale Hammond, I think, is a close second because he's the announcer now, but he was on it for a while.
He's 14. Yeah. He's the announcer now.
Mm-hmm. Don Pardo died.
Seth Meyers is 13.
All right. This is the perfect card for the costume you are wearing.
Oh, good.
Which of these is not a Jeopardy category misread by Sean Connery? You ready?
Uh-huh.
First grade math, an album cover, therapists, catch these men.
I know the last two are definitely ones that he's done.
Okay.
He's done. What are the first two?
First grade math, an album cover, therapists, or catch these men.
It's got to be first grade math.
That is correct. Now for bonus
Yes.
points, Devin, can you give us your best Sean Connery impression doing the rest?
I don't know what album cover turned itself into.
Anal bum cover.
Of course it did. Then the next one was Catch These Men.
That was the last one. Yes.
Was Catch the Seaman.
Yes.
And then the other
And I'll
one
take
was
the rapist for 1,000, Alec.
Catch the That's what your mustache is for, Trebek. I just watched that one. It's so funny.
I'll
It also shows that my humor is like 12.
Yes.
Like I'm like a 12-year-old humor style. I don't care.
All right. Let's go to the 2000s. I gave you that one before the show.
Speaking of, I didn't know Fred Armisen was on SNL for 11 years.
Yeah.
I thought he like hosted. I must have missed most of his career.
All right. All right. A lot of these have pictures, is why I'm scrolling through them, because that doesn't really work. For another picture. It's like they're like, oh, hey, we have digital access to these pictures.
Oh, do they really?
Well, because this game's newer.
It's very cool though.
What patriotic piece of clothing does Will Ferrell sport on Casual Friday?
Is it an America thong?
Yes, it is. You would know that.
Is it weird? I've never seen that skit before, but just knew based on Will Ferrell that that's probably what he was wearing.
It's a fair guess.
It is. I also Will Ferrell on SNL is a force.
All right. This is changing things up a little bit.
Okay.
Pick the correct slogan for the SNL product. I'll read the product slogans out loud, and you have to tell me which slogan is correct.
Okay.
The product is Mom Jeans. Mom Jeans.
Oh,
I'm not a woman anymore. I'm a mom. Mom Jeans. By moms. For no one. Mom Jeans. Don't leave home with them on. Which is the correct slogan?
Say the first one again. I was messing with my headphones.
Mom Jeans. I'm not a woman anymore. I'm a mom.
That one. It's 100% that one.
That is 100% correct.
Oh, that's such a funny sketch.
Yes, it is.
Oh man, because is it Tina Fey and Amy Poehler in that one?
Yeah, that was their era.
Yeah.
All right, let me. Okay. What musical duo claims to be the exact opposite of Bon Jovi?
What musical duo is the exact opposite of
Claims
Bon Jovi?
to be the exact opposite of Bon Jovi.
Is it Salt and Pepper?
No, it's John Bovi.
Is that a thing?
Jimmy Fallon is put in his place by what gangster movie actor for giving his latest movie a bad review?
Gangster and movie actor?
Yes. I'm guessing this was on Update, if that helps you. Like, when was Fallon on Update?
And then who was the gangster and movie actor?
Yes.
It wasn't. Hold on. Was it Vincent D'Onofrio?
No.
No, damn it.
De Niro.
Who was it? Oh, it's De Niro.
Yeah, he gave a bad review to Meet the Parents.
Ah.
Speaking of Weekend Update, what is the Weekend Update segment what Weekend Update segment do Seth and Amy call out people for doing incorrigible things?
I don't know this one.
You don't know this one? Really?
I've never watched Weekend.
Really?
No, I don't really watch Weekend.
You don't know this one, Devin. Really?
Is
You
that
don't know
what it's called?
really with Seth and
Really?
Amy? Yeah, really?
Oh, that's so fun.
Yes. That's all I've got. Next time you're in town, we should maybe play this game because it was pretty
I
fun.
want to play more of that. I really
Yeah.
enjoy that. What are the other things in our trivia?
There were talk show, showdown, choose a player from your team to impersonate a host from the list.
Yes.
And then You have to have a 60-second conversation with a different character.
Oh, there's like improv in this then.
Yeah. We should
That's
definitely
very
play this. Maybe we should just play this on stream sometime.
Done.
Yeah. I believe is it your pick next week?
I don't know if it is.
No, it's
Guess
not.
who's
It's
not
Ryan's.
prepared?
It's
Okay,
Ryan's. He did not send his pick for this week. He did send notes that we forgot to go over.
Ryan liked the movie, by the way.
Ryan liked the movie.
That's my abiding thing, and he loved the Chevy Chase guy.
Yes.
And my abiding thing was, I'm going into today. I was like, I know Alan and I are going to love this movie. Alan may have structural problems with the movie, but you're kind of like me, where I think that you see like Kaufman and Radner and Belushi, and like you go them in the same way that I do, and it made me want to rewatch 30 Rock in the same way that I'm sure it made you want to rewatch 30 Rock, and I love it. But I figured Ryan would be the one that like doesn't have as much. I know that he knows these actors, but might not have enough connection. But I'm happy he liked it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah. So join us next week. Big thanks to Ryan for not being here tonight. Thank you to Lauren Michaels and the SNL gang. We'll see you at the after party. Until then, you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and listen. You have to watch this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're almost caught up. I promise. By the end of the month, we'll be caught up.
Almost there.
Almost there. For you have to watch this podcast. I'm Alan.
And I'm Devin.
And good night, everybody.
Aw.